Hello people and welcome to Module 4, Tooling Up Bash with Security Tools. We're actually going to start touching cybersecurity stuff using some special tools. We will be touching on networking a little bit briefly, but you're learning cybersecurity. Networking, that's the floor, so unfortunately. Well, it depends how you look at it. Depends if you like networking or not. But, you know, we're going to have to touch on it a little bit. However, there's a few things I do need to say before we get started. This is for educational purposes only. Do not scan, probe, or investigate systems you do not own or have explicit permission to test. Unauthorized scanning is illegal and unethical. Nmap scans and similar tools generate traffic if used improperly on live production systems. They can trigger security alerts or affect performance. Always test in isolated lab environments, which is what I will be doing and what you should do as well, unless you have explicitly been given permission that you can scan and tinker with things. Otherwise, never do it. You'll get in trouble, and a lot of trouble. So to begin, we're going to type sudo apt update. Sudo, as you know, runs command as a super user. Apt update just updates the package list from the repositories. Basically tells your system what new or updated software is available. And then we're going to put a logical operator and, so that the next command only executes if the previous one is successful. And then we're going to go sudo apt install -y. And then we're going to list our tools. So we want nmap, we want whois and nettools. So sudo apt install, as you know, installs the tools. -y basically just means to say, well, when you install things, it'll stop you and go, are you sure you want to continue? -y just basically answers that before it's even answered. So let's run that. And let's not get our sudo passwords wrong. Okay. This will take just 2 seconds to download. It's not going to take very long. These tools aren't very heavy in file size. So yeah, just leave that to run. How was your day? Oh, go. Right, okay, so let's begin. The first command we'll be running is nmap, and the target is just going to be us. So nmap localhost means I'm just targeting my loopback address, which basically means just me, just this virtual environment. I'm not scanning anything else apart from me. This is fine because I don't need my own explicit permission to scan my own machine. So yeah, don't worry about it too much. So let's scan, and you will be met with this result or something similar. It's most likely going to look like this if you've been following the labs as such so far, because we just installed a blank Debian machine. But yeah, so basically what this does is nmap scans all the ports for any that are open or closed. It scanned all 1,000 ports, but it's only shown one because one is open, port 631, and there's 999 closed ports. Ideally, in general, you want your ports closed because it's secure to have your ports closed. If you have certain ports open, such as port 80, which is HTTP, which we actually work with in this lab, it can leave you vulnerable to cybersecurity attacks. So in cybersecurity, this would be used as a way to identify possible attack surfaces. It's used in recon. So the reconnaissance phase of an attack is usually the first phase if you don't count setup, and that's where people just scan things to see what's open, to see what options they have before they start enumerating. So now we're going to be creating a shell variable. A shell variable is just a variable that we can use freely, just like in scripting, throughout the session. The session is just the terminal is open, so as soon as the terminal is closed, the variable will be forgotten. So it will just be called result equals, and then we'll be storing the output of nmap-p 22, 80, 443, and then my machine. So basically what this does is we're going to nmap scan -p means only ports 22, 80, and 443. Port 22 is SSH, port 80 is HTTP, and 443 is HTTPS. These are all pretty, if they're open, you're very vulnerable. They will be closed in this circumstance, but yeah, this is just for educational purposes as well. It's just to showcase stuff. So if we just echo result, just as if we were doing this with like a normal variable, you'll see it's stored the result of nmap-p 22.88.443 localhost. So this is what we're met with. They are closed. They're not open. I'm not going to be opening them for this lab, even though it's a virtual machine still. They're just going to remain closed for this. So yeah, it is scanned these 3 ports and it is just holding the nmap scan results for it. So we can parse our results by just putting in a line as just a command separator. So it's basically just saying echo result, then go into the next command, which will be grep. We'll just put closed because our ports are closed. So it will just grab the lines with the word closed in it. Now, where you'd parse normally, it would be when you're scanning loads of ports, and say you just want the ports that are open, you could just put echo, and then maybe you'll use a shell variable, you might not, but if you are, echo result grep open, which would just print the lines on the ports that are open. Saves you a lot of time, especially if you're scanning loads of ports. So let's just move on to making a little scanner, like a little scanner wrapper. So we're just gonna make a new file, just call it scanner.sh. I'm going to be using a different variation of chmod, just saying +x. +x just gives us executable rights. Instead of writing 700, you can just write, yeah, +x. So it'll give you just executional. Okay, sorry. And then we're just going to open the editor. Okay, so obviously you know how it goes. Shebang. And then we're basically we're going to start by writing host equals 1. So what this does basically is it just stores the first command line argument into the variable host. So for example, if we ran /scanner.sh and then put google.com, then it would make host google.com essentially. So if we're going to come down, we're just going to make a little if statement. So we're going to say if, and then -z, and then put host in colons just to avoid any errors. Close that, and just put then. So basically what this does is -z stands for 0 length, and it just checks if the host variable is empty. So if the host variable is empty, we'll just come down and we'll say echo host variable host not found, and then put exit. Oops, exit 1. Exit 1 essentially just prints an error message. So then we're just going to come down and just end the if statement, and then we're going to come down again. So this is if the host, if a host has been given, then we're going to do nmap-p 22.80.443. So we're just going to scan ports 22.80.443 of host. So we're just going to use substitution again, just to get the host name, and then we're going to put grep. And then in this case we're going to write closed, but if you were, you know, making this as an actual scanner, you would probably want to put open. But yeah, in this case none of the ports are going to be open. So Control O, enter to save, Control X, and we will run it just normally without a target, and it will say host not found. But then if we put our target, localhost, then there you go. That's just a simple little scanner wrapper. Nothing too fancy really. Pretty simple logic as well. Pretty good for just automating. So yeah, handy overall. A couple more commands that I just want to go over before we conclude. So we're going to start by writing echo, and then we'll write result again, and then we'll come over and we will be using a new command. It's called cut. So cut, basically we can, well, what we'll be using it in this example is to cut the result at a certain point. So we need to set the delimiter, basically the point where the cut starts. So we put cut -d and then in quotes where you want the cut to start. So for this, if you look at the command above, we'll just look at 443/tcp closed HTTPS. We'll just say I want it to end after the number. So we'll put slash. So just so it prints the number and just the number. And then you want to put dash F1 just so it prints the first field alone, basically the first word. If you enter that, then you'll just be given the ports, and that's it. It can be pretty handy if you just want to pull ports slash IPs from structured output. The next command that I want to use is another simple one. It's awk. Basically, we could just print different fields. It's a field-aware text processor. So we can write awk and then come over and use single quotes and then braces to print, and then you just put the $, and then you put the number of the field that you want to print. Since there's 3 words, for example, 443/TCP is one field, closed is the second field, HTTPS is the third field, so we will just print the first field for now, and then encase it, and as you can see, it'll just print the port, sorry. If I want just to know if it's closed or open, we can do just the port and the state. If I want fields 1 and 2, you can just put a comma, a space, and then put the second field that you want, and there you go. It's just as simple as that. It's good for extracting IPs, usernames, log entries, and building chain commands. The last thing that I'll be going over is, second last thing, is the whois command. So we're going to run whois on example.com. So basically what this does is it just fetches domain ownership, registrar, and contact info. So this can be used for open source intelligence or map infrastructure, or just to trace attacker domains. But yeah. So these are just handy tools overall for cybersecurity. Future modules will use these, so hence why we're just tapping on them here in this module today. So yeah, the last thing I'll be going over is a command netstat-talm. So basically what this does is it just lists open/listening ports on the target machine, which is me. So the T stands for TCP, Transmission Control Protocol, U for UDP, L for listen only, and N for numeric. In cybersecurity, these are used to detect unwanted services or spot malware, backdoors, or reverse shells. But yeah, this lab is just to introduce you to some cybersecurity students, cybersecurity tools that are often used in the industry, and ones that you'll probably end up sticking with for a while if you decide to pursue cybersecurity. I will be touching on these commands more in the future. I'll be writing some scripts with them as well. But for now, yeah, that's where we wrap it up today. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have learned something. See you later.